Hey folks, it's us, podcasting wonderkins John Bishop and Lucas Southworth.
Although this is a podcast about cars, it is not age appropriate for the target demographic of these films, as we usually end up talking about the reproductive organs of Lightning McQueen.
Alright, now let's take a look under the hood. Hello, I'm Lucas Southworth.
And I'm John Bishop. Welcome to The Chat.
The only podcast brave enough to ask the question, hey, what's up with cars? So what are we talking about today, Johnny?
Fossil fuels. How cars eat. What they eat. Why they eat.
All wonderful questions. Let's answer one of them at a time.
Alright, first question we've got on the docket. Food. Hunger. Eating.
All with little question marks after, I assume.
Little question marks, and those are whole sentences right there. Whole sentences. Alright, let's start with food. So, as everyone well knows, there is definitely food in the Cars universe, but there's also fuel in the Cars universe. And they consume both of those things.
And they sort of treat the fuel as food. I mean, the gas station, Flo's V8 Cafe, it's called a cafe, and they're like, that's some tasty gasoline. It's a delicacy. It's something they eat, but it also is, gasoline for their car bits.
There is also a scene in the second movie where Mater eats some wasabi, thinking it's ice cream.
Classic Mater.
He does not like it.
Well, yeah.
So there's definitely preferences for food. There's taste for food. There are tongues with presumably taste buds or something like that. How can something with taste buds enjoy wasabi or anything else as well as fuel?
And before we get too far into this, there is definitely food besides just like that instance of wasabi and besides fuel, because in the Planes universe, our main character is a crop duster. He, tins crops, and for food, I assume. I mean, they could be making some biofuel, but I assume it's a staple for food that he is tending with his crop dusting.
There's also, in, I believe, the second movie, maybe the third, no, it's the second. I haven't seen the third yet. Alright. There's, in the second movie, there's also a scene with just a one-off scene a little bit, and it's just a rice farmer. So there's rice farming, there's crop dusting, there's wasabi, there's all these different cultures of foods, and there's fuel.
So, what do you think? Do you think the food sustains them in any way? Or do you think the food is just well, we've got fuel and oil, but why not eat some corn sometimes, or some rice, or ice cream?
My theory is that fuel is what they need it's their go juice. Mm-hmm. It's what makes them go.
If you will.
And the food that we consume as humans, that they also consume, either it's just for taste because they enjoy the taste, or it's for the part of them that is organic, as we discussed in our biology episode.
Okay. I could get behind that, because I know in the first movie, there's a part where Lightning McQueen runs out of gas, but he doesn't die. Mm-hmm. He's just can't go anymore. That sucks.
And with how cars work, actually, if he were to run out of gas, he's got plenty of battery left, hopefully, for quite some time, so that not only does just the ability to drive leave him, but he still can survive. He won't, like, the mechanical parts of him won't just turn off per se. He'll just be out of gas and won't be able to move. But the thing is, the fuel also charges the battery. So, without gas, the mechanical parts will eventually turn off.
Okay. So it is necessary not just to go, but to be, almost. You have to have gas.
I'm wondering if somehow cars are similar to hermit crabs.
Okay.
What if cars are just the gooey bit and they can replace everything about the mechanics, but the mechanics need the fuel? The mechanics are just exosuits. Like, they're all little Iron Man slugs, and they can just shed their bodies. What if that is how they exist, and they need food to sustain the gooey bit, and they need fuel and electricity and oil just for the mechanical bit?
That's a way better explanation than whatever we said back when biology. I like that a whole lot more.
I mean, it could be like a symbiotic relationship where the car needs the slug and the slug needs the car.
Oh, they're little slugs. I love it.
Ugh. Oh, the tongue could be a part of the slug.
Oh, I'm assuming it is. It has to be. It's a little gooey tongue. It has to be part of the organic matter.
And the mouths are how they get in and out of the car.
Ooh.
Oh, gross.
Gross.
Oh. All right, so that's my theory. My theory is that it's two different kinds of food for two different bodies that just happen to be together.
Okay, I'm not sure I'm there on the symbiosis. They're both alive, but I could dig the sort of Iron Man sort of aspect of it. It's a gooey bit, but you gotta power up the outer bits.
Yeah. All right, so that's food.
Got it.
Now,
check mark.
Hunger.
Okay.
I don't remember people being hungry. Are there any people hungry in, the third movie?
Not that I can remember. I mean, I could be remembering wrong. I watch Cars 3 every night before I go to bed, but I could very much be remembering wrong.
In the first Cars, there's the cafe, Flo's Cafe, and I do believe they like seem to like it. So there's at least preference when it comes to hunger.
Yeah, and in the first one, he goes to the hippie van. The hippie van thing that he gets is organic fuel, and he's like, "Oh, this tastes great. Why is no one telling me about this?" So there's like, it's not just like, "Oh, we enjoy the sensation of liquid in our weird giant mouths."
So you can have organic fuel and it tastes good, and you can have highly synthesized fuel and it tastes good. So there's maybe fuel to them is like coffee.
I could see that, yeah.
Because there's specific blends that people love, and there's like more and less manufactured and processed versions of coffee, and in general, it all tastes like coffee. There's a coffee taste, and and coffee has the same effect of it's go juice for people. It just makes them energized. It keeps them going.
I could also see in it being like different kinds of wines almost. Mm-hmm. Like you've got a lovely year of petroleum here or something like that.
A fine vintage diesel.
Okay, real quick, tangent. So food exists. Alcohol? I mean, they have corn, because, again, the crop duster, so and they can make the corn alcohol. Whiskey? I don't know.
And I'm pretty sure there is, like, wine in the first one. Well, not wine, champagne. Champagne when he wins.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think you're absolutely right.
The piston cup.
Yeah. So, drunk driving? Question mark.
Oh, they can't go anywhere if they drink.
Yeah, like, just moving, I guess, would be drunk driving. Get a DUI for walking down the street.
Maybe there's a speed limit when you're drunk? maybe you just have to have a walking pace when you're drunk.
I mean, they can do that thing where they sort of waddle without their wheels actually spinning, so maybe they just have to waddle everywhere.
I can't imagine that gets easier when you're drunk.
It gets funnier, I bet. Cars 4.
Yeah. Cars 4. Make it happen. Oh, boy.
I would imagine, going back to hunger, if we're assuming that they got a biological thing that needs real food that's not, fuel, then it would get hungry just like anything else.
So there's a sushi scene, right? I think there's a sushi scene.
I don't remember. If it is, I bet it's in Cars 2 because they go to Japan.
I believe there's a sushi scene or a sushi chef in Cars 2. And that just raises the question, fish?
Oh, that's our first meat, isn't it? Oh, no.
Fish.
Yeah. No, I'm there with you.
There are boats. Presumably there are fishing boats. So they can get the fish. Are the fish cars?
What if they're little submarines? That'd be fun.
Okay, if they're little submarines, how do you eat a submarine?
I mean, they have the tractors, and tractors are like cows.
Yeah, they're cattle.
Do they eat the tractors?
Oh boy.
Because that'd be...
If they eat the tractors...
really awesome. What?
Do they eat the Iron Man suit of the tractor?
Oh, it's like...
Or do they eat the snail on the inside?
It's like a clam. They gotta crack it open and suck out the gooey bits.
Do they only eat clams?
Oh, no. Oh, they're all clams.
Oh, they're evolved from clams.
That's better than... yeah.
Take that, Matt Pat.
Bugs.
I know you're listening, Matt Pat.
Dummy.
Take that. They're not bugs. They're snails or hermit crabs or slugs or whatever goes into exosuits. They're techno-organic matter that inhabits a space inside of a shell.
God, if they eat meat, that's just personally terrifying. I don't know what implications it has, but it makes me uneasy.
Here's the thing. We as humans, we eat animals, right?
Yeah.
Animals are similar, but there are a lot more traits that can make us distinct from them.
Yeah.
We don't eat monkeys because that's too close to us.
Sure.
If you're a snail, you're just a hunk of mass with a tongue and a brain and maybe eyes.
That can go 90 miles per hour.
That can go 90 miles per hour when in your shell. How do you distinguish between what you eat and what you don't eat? Because if the line is, we eat things that don't speak, that's terrifying because there are mute beings, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Speaking of mute beings, sign language?
I don't know that we can get into that right now.
Tune into our future episode about language and communication.
We'll get there. Okay, so they're snails that race. Is this movie just Turbo?
Dang it, man. We reinvented Turbo.
Okay, well...
Oh no! Turbo's a prequel!
Oh no!
Turbo's a prequel!
That snail is fast, though. All the snails are fast.
And what turns him fast?
I didn't see it.
Nos.
Okay.
He goes inside of a car and gets infused with Nos. It's definitely a prequel. He's a snail that can eat fuel.
Oh no.
They're not the same universe, are they? I don't think so.
No, it's not a Pixar movie, so
it
it wouldn't be. It's a DreamWorks or something. It's not Pixar. I don't know what it is, but
it's a cross-universe prequel.
Man, is that our first non-Pixar movie that we've said is definitely related to Cars?
I am more positive that Turbo is a prequel than I am any other Pixar movie.
Solid. But
oh no.
I think what makes me uneasy about them eating meat is less about how do they decide what to eat, is more like if they are robots, then I'm imagining a robot uprising where they're like, we could eat people. Robots with the ability to eat.
But they're already out of people.
But
they're out of people to eat. So
I'm imagining I somehow
weren't.
end up in this world.
Oh, boy.
And then they're like, oh, what's that thing? We could eat it. I don't want them to be able to eat me.
But we can speak. I'm sure we can communicate to them that we shouldn't be eaten. I imagine if we enter this universe somehow, we'll be turned into a car.
We can only hope.
Yeah.
And we can only hope that our best scientists could bring us back from that state once we re-enter the portal back to...
I'm sure the portal converts your body.
Oh, I'm really hoping so, man.
If not, then I'll just go to a car graveyard, get some car parts, and pretend I'm a car.
I'm sure that will go about as well as anyone would expect it to go.
I'm only desecrating dead bodies and existing inside of them. Oh no, I'm Buffalo Bill.
Ooh. Oh no.
Oh no.
Let's file that under movies. I didn't think we would relate to cars. Turbo, we can get... It's about racing, but like...
Turbo is about slugs that race. Snails that race. Alright, so we've covered food, hunger, and I guess we kinda got eating. How do they eat?
I assume just like, through their mouths, whatnot.
In biology, we covered kind of like they probably have a fleshy bit that digests.
Yeah, and and
sends proper things to proper places.
Yeah, like, this is gas. It should go in the gas tank. Yeah. We got that. Now, I think a big question is, there are fossil fuels. There are fossils. What are those fossils of? Where are they coming from? Dinosaurs? Dinocars?
Definitely dinocars. There's also a TV show. It's for children, but it's got something to do with
hasn't
dinosaurs.
Stopped us before.
Dinosaurs being vehicles.
Oh no!
I think they're specifically construction vehicles, which beautifully blends into the precursor to this race of how did they build anything? Yeah. Well, when they were dinosaurs, they built everything because they're construction dinosaurs.
Okay, sure. With the dinosaurs, though, I mean, Dinoco is a brand that has as their logo like a normal dinosaur. It has a T-Rex as their little logo, so they know what dinosaurs are.
But were they car dinosaurs?
Yeah,
or were they dinosaurs?
I guess we're getting back to...
Are cars in our universe,
yeah.
But further, or are cars their own thing?
Yeah.
I'm gonna go for this episode with the turbo theory of they're in our universe.
Okay.
But further down the line, evolved snails.
You know what? I could dig it. So... It's just like way off in the future, but they still know what dinosaurs are somehow. I don't know.
Yep.
Recording things.
That's good enough for me. But here's the thing.
Tell me the thing.
As humans.
Okay.
We're already using fossil fuels.
Yeah.
We're taking fossil fuels now from this future cars universe. We are currently taking their fuel, their food. The thing that keeps their go juice, the thing that keeps them going.
Yeah.
What happens when they're out of dinosaurs? When they're out of go juice?
I mean, I gotta just assume society collapses.
Do they shed their Iron Man suit bodies?
Now that could work.
Do they just stop moving at 90 miles an hour and learn to go slow?
God, how could you go back at that point? I couldn't.
I don't think they can. So they gotta be more sustainable. Which I think brings us to our first question from Liz.
This question comes from Liz. And I think in its entirety is, yes, energy efficient cars? Question mark?
Energy efficient cars.
Question mark.
So these people are definitely cyborgs, right?
Yeah, we've gotten there every episode I think we've done.
No, like cars in this universe.
Okay.
They're people.
Yeah.
Assuming that they consider themselves people.
Yeah.
Fuel-efficient cars are like the cyborgs of cars.
Oh, they're double cyborgs. Okay. Oh, because they have the parts that, like a hybrid.
Yeah.
Okay.
There are solar panels. You attach that to a car. Does something, I'm assuming.
I would assume. I guess I don't know, but
In our human world, there are cyborgs already who have augmentations that are strange. But can't really blame them. There are people who are missing limbs, missing eyes.
I didn't...
I'm not saying that. I'm saying, like, there are people who choose to have, like, magnets put in their body.
Okay, I wasn't following
These are
you.
separate thoughts. I'm not...
Okay.
Of course you can't blame them. That would be terrible.
Okay.
I'm just saying there are people who, like, I want to be a cyborg, so they have magnets put in their body. And then there are people who legitimately need prosthesis.
Got it. I'm there. I wasn't following you. I'm back on board.
World, I apologize for any confusion. But there are varying degrees of people mixed with technology.
Sure.
That's what I imagine these energy efficient cars are.
Okay.
Have we seen cars drink water ever? Because I would imagine that would be a very different thing for hydroelectric cars.
Yeah, I mean...
Because that's food for them, but is it food for cars? Because if they're an organic gooey bit in the center, they're going to need water. But maybe the food they eat has enough water in it?
Or maybe they extract it from, like, the oil and fuel somehow, but then how would they burn it? I don't know. That's a very good question. I hadn't thought about water at all. Mine went to booze a lot quicker than it went to water, I guess.
But hydroelectric cars have a problem now of people being afraid of them exploding, because what they do is they convert hydrogen into hydrogen. Well, they convert water, which is H2O, into hydrogen and oxygen separately. And HHO gas is highly combustible, and just hydrogen, highly combustible. Oxygen is fuel for fire. Would these precursor cyborgs have a major problem of just exploding?
No.
Because I think they would.
Oh, no. I guess maybe. That's scary.
Because that can happen with normal cars. They could just explode.
Yeah.
But that seems to not be a big concern. But if you're making these cyborg energy-efficient cars, they might explode. At least the first ones.
Yeah, you're not wrong at all. That's really scary. I don't know.
So
I guess, yeah. I guess there are
cyborg precursors.
Yeah, I guess there are cars just out there like, yeah, I'm energy efficient, but maybe I'll explode. Who knows?
Yeah. Exploding people would be terrifying.
Yeah, I would not feel very... I mean, there are some... Aren't there, like, conspiracy theories about, like, spontaneous combustion?
There are a lot of conspiracy theories that people can just spontaneously combust, which... in an infinite universe, anything can and will happen. Well, anything that can happen will happen. But I don't believe it's happened yet.
But, I mean, maybe these... what'd you call them? Hydroelectric cars?
Yep.
Maybe these are creating these, like, public myths. Like, they're like... People are like, oh, yeah, I saw some guy, he just blew up the other day. And they're like, that's not true.
What if there are cryptids in this universe?
I mean, I assume there are.
Big Tire.
Loch Ness Monster Submarine. I don't know.
There's got to be cryptids, I'm sure. I don't know. Well, the thing about cryptids is that's in a universe where there are 7 billion people. There aren't that many cars, I'm sure.
I remember us looking it up. If they're going by how many cars are on Earth currently, it'd be about a billion, maybe? I think, remembering. But maybe they're also just going like, 7 billion people, 7 billion cars. You can say.
Time for a fun fact!
Give it to us.
Fun fact! There is a restaurant called, oh boy, Ford's Garage. Ford's Garage has many locations, and this restaurant, Ford's Garage, it's got a car theme. So if you want to know what it's like to eat as if you were a car in the Cars universe, I'm guessing this is the closest, safest thing you can do. Do not go to a gas station and try that. Do not. You will die.
You heard it here. Probably not first. Hopefully not first, but you heard it here.
FordsGarageUSA.com. Ford's Garage. Eat it, Ford's Garage. Prime Burgers, craft beer. I don't think they have a catchphrase. If they do, it's probably not that.
I hope it's just eat at Ford's Garage. That'd be pretty awesome.
It is now.
I would respect that.
You're welcome for the free advertisement.
Yeah, I was
Ford's
about
Garage.
to say, they did not pay us to say that. If you want to pay us to say that, we will say it every episode, Ford's Garage.
Ford's Garage, Ford's Garage. And now on to our very not fun fact.
Boo.
Keeping with the theme of fuel efficiency and global warming and no more food, we haven't gotten to global warming yet. Sorry about that. Sorry about jumping ahead. Because of its near total dependence on petroleum fuels, the U.S. transportation sector is responsible for about a third of our country's climate-changing emissions.
Wah, wah.
That's from biologicaldiversity.org.
Oh, are we doing sources now? We're like a real people podcast.
A real people podcast. Okay, and that's our not fun fact.
I didn't like it very
Global
much.
warming, killing us all. People who don't believe in it, you're wrong. You're just wrong.
If you're like a very highly trained scientist who has done research and is like, yeah, I don't believe in global warming, sure, feel free to correct us. But if you're not, go listen to the thousands upon thousands of highly trained scientists who disagree with you.
Well, on to global warming.
Yeah, who would have guessed?
These beings, they eat and consume fossil fuels.
Yeah.
Which, as the very not fun fact has said, it's a big contributor to global climate change and global warming.
Yeah.
These people are eating themselves into a sauna.
Yeah, and I mean, I gotta assume, if they're not waddling, they're always running.
Yep.
So it's not, it's even astronomically more emissions than would be. I mean, I guess they sleep.
And let's go back to the point of, if this is a parallel to our universe, then there are likely 7 billion cars.
Yeah.
Meaning, not only are their emissions much higher just because that's walking for them, but there are so many more of them!
Yeah, that's really scary. And I mean, even if we're going by the 1 billion cars, like, cows are tractors, and, like, everything, the planes and boats.
Yep.
They're all on all the time. Every living thing is already emitting carbon, but every living thing is emitting carbon way more.
You have to consider that cows produce so much methane just by existing.
Yeah.
They eat grass and they fart, and that flatulence is an actually considerable addition to our emissions.
Yeah.
Which is disturbing, but you have to imagine that every single car in this universe, even when they're not running, they've got to be flatulent at times.
Oh no.
And I assume that since they're larger beings, that in the very least, these 1 billion cars are as good as cows.
Yeah, I think that's not even a stretch. Yeah, I think that's... They eat food, they gotta flatulate it out. Hey, John, we didn't talk about them peeing or pooping back with food. Do you want to talk about the fact that if they eat food, they gotta poop, John?
There's no butt.
Oh, does it come out their exhaust pipe? Because that would be pretty gross.
Think about it this way.
I don't want to, but I will.
There are presumably, 5 different ways it could come out of any car. Exhaust pipe.
Sure.
Doors.
That would be really... Sure, okay. Various other pipes.
Moonroof.
Yeah. Oh, no. Oh,
Trunk.
yeah.
And last and probably most horrifyingly, their mouth.
Oh, I want to assume they don't poop from their mouths, just for, my own personal...
Race cars don't have trunks.
They have exhaust pipes, man. They have other options. They can't poop from their mouths, or I will stop doing this podcast with you. They can't poop from their mouths.
It's probably not poop. But their only option is probably vomiting.
We've gone over other options. I gave other
Race
options.
cars. Race
They
cars
have
don't have doors typically. They also don't have trunks.
They have exhaust pipes and other... I don't care if they secrete it. It's better than them vomiting their poop.
I think they have to vomit the poop.
You go ahead and think that. I'm gonna go ahead and think literally anything else.
I think it's the only way.
Okay.
I think it's the only reasonable way.
Sure, whatever. I'm not gonna think that.
Because back to biology, back to all of that, giving birth. You can't give birth out of an exhaust pipe. You might be able to give birth out of your mouth. And
we thought they might lay some eggs, and maybe if they lay eggs...
I think egg comes from mouth.
No, I refuse. I refuse to believe that. They lay eggs and poop out of...
I think everything that comes in, except for exhaust, has to come out the mouth.
I don't like that very much, John.
I know you don't like it, but I think it's the only way.
Sure, you think that. I'm gonna think that they, I don't know, secrete it. That's
Okay.
worse. Something.
So exhaust, that's their flatulence.
Sure.
Maybe they burp too, on account of the fact that they also must poop from their mouth.
I think I remember them burping at some point. I think I remember like Lightning burping back in Cars when he's like a jerk, but I could be wrong about that.
Okay, so they're producing so much gases, they're consuming so much fuel. Every single person on this planet, in order to be alive, presumably has to consume fuel. Except for the cyborgs who consume less fuel. There's gotta be electric cars. And those are just... Oh, if hybrid cars are cyborgs, then electric cars are just androids.
Well, no, I don't think that. I think they just got a different exoskeleton.
Maybe,
They
but...
still got the squish in there. Why wouldn't they have the squish?
Because they're a completely different kind of vehicle.
Yeah, but like, they're like buses and cars, and they're different vehicles, but like, just put some squish in there.
But the way electric cars actuate, and the way that anything that uses fuel actuates are completely different. You're talking the difference between an electric motor and a piston.
Sure, but like, I don't know, put that in the front, put squish in the back.
Maybe. But it's just the entire thing has to be motors, meaning so much more space is taken up because of motors. Maybe, but in the very least, I'm imagining that there's less squish.
Okay.
There's got to be less squish.
I can meet you halfway on that.
All right. Time for another question from Liz. But this one is from Liz.
Ooh.
How do they get fuel? How do they get to the fossil fuels? How do they dig? How do they cook?
Ooh.
How do they everything? How do they even safely consume it?
Okay. I remember they have them in these little cans with like straws. But
How do they get them in the can?
John, we're just gonna get back on spiraling on the
What
fact...
of their hands?
Yes, we're gonna get back on that. It's what's gonna happen.
They ain't got no hands.
I know it, buddy. I know that's very distressing, and I don't disagree that that's very distressing.
You think the squish just leaves the shell, and then that is like their primary workforce is just naked and afraid, squishy beings.
I'm imagining like a blobfish.
Yep.
Oh no! I very much hope not.
Hey, Matt Pat, another shout out to you. He had an episode about single-celled organisms, and it was about Kirby. And he talked about how some, like Kirby, can cause protrusions that function as arms. They can, like... I forget all of the words that he said, but
That's
force something out to a specific point, and that's how they can, like, pull, cause specific shapes to happen, and grab onto things. What if that's what these things are? They just, like, stick out gooey bits and then latch on to whatever they want, and they can shape hands and everything they want. Just with that, they're just nasty little gooey slugs, snails.
So they're kind of like Clayface
Kirby's.
from Batman. They can if they can do that, then I don't know why they've bothered to get in cars. That seems a little.
I mean, Clay can only move so fast. One would assume that it's probably like a snake or a snail. Like that's what limits their speed.
Okay.
I imagine making anything like legs would be incredibly difficult.
Okay, it's not just unlimited. They can't just make. Okay.
I would imagine that it would just take a lot of focus to do anything like that. So making an exosuit is the best option for them.
Yeah, I could dig that.
Oh boy.
I like them being blobfish. I think that's fun.
What if cars are people? What if the really fat gelatinous people from WALL-E
Oh no.
only become more gelatinous and fat?
In the credits to WALL-E, they show them working out and stuff.
Yeah, what if they give up on that?
Oh no.
Turn their chairs into exosuits.
Real New Year's resolution kind of situation, I guess.
Oh boy, they're gonna turn their chairs into their bodies and just be gooey bits.
Oh, they're a little blobfish now.
They have highly advanced technology that can work for them to the point where it becomes a symbiotic relationship. They turn their chairs into their bodies, and they're just gooey bits inside that can leave their shells to collect goods and stuff. Gross.
I think that's just as reasonable as any of our other, this movie is a prequel to Cars theories.
Oh, gross.
Going back to global warming, though, how do you think boats feel about it? You think they're like, we're going to get more territory from this stuff. The oceans are going to rise, and then it will be our turn.
I assume that a lot of the oil drilling is done by land-based vehicles, even though there are, like, bunkers or whatever they're called, sea islands, where you do that. I assume
offshore drilling is very common, yeah.
I assume the offshore drilling is done by what would be the equivalent on our world, which would be just regular people, which would mean it's just like cars.
Yeah.
Probably the smaller, like, utility vehicles.
Yeah, the little pit crew fellas probably do a lot of it.
Yeah, so they're doing a lot of the drilling, which means that the boats, the submarines, all of them still rely on the Terranian vehicles.
Okay.
So, sure, they're getting more land, but they don't want them to die, because if they die, everyone dies.
Wait, okay. We're assuming that the squishy bits can get out.
How big of a person does it take? How big of a squishy bit does it take to be a boat? Yeah,
that's kind of what I'm getting at. Can the boats just sort of get out and be like, well, I'm a car now? Or can they all just intermingle?
There's a size equivalence, in the very least. And I think that getting out isn't an option. I think that, like, for some it might have been, and that's how some beings work. But also maybe there's just robots that take care of things. And I assume that the reason cars don't switch bodies is because at some point it became necessary to stay in that body, or you would die from exposure or something.
Oh, okay. So if we're assuming that, we can't assume they have their fun arms and get out and do all the work. Which I think I think that was a bit of a stretch, if I'm being honest.
Maybe there are just some beings that can survive the outside, and we never see them because they're the shame of society, and that's why they do all the work, because they probably look hideous to everyone.
Yeah, little blobfish.
Yeah.
I'm really caught on the blobfish, I'm sorry. I think they're very fun.
I get it.
But yeah, I would guess they do the drilling just like how they do everything else, somehow, without hands. We haven't landed on that one, and I'm not sure we're going to for a while.
Yeah.
So
nanites, man. Nanites, single-celled organisms, amoeba, blobfish.
Those are just a series of words there, John.
Well, I think we're going to wrap it up for today. But just remember, if you want to advertise with us, just get in contact with us. We do have an email,
which
is thecachat@gmail.com.
That's
all one word.
One word. All one word.
All right. We also have Twitter.
We sure do.
We would like you to just comment and rate on anything this is on.
Yeah, leave us a review.
Please leave us a nice review.
There it is.
Yep. Comment all you want. I think comments help viewership. I don't actually know.
I know that. All I know, specifically on iTunes, good reviews, that's how we grow our audience. And that'd be cool.
If we get good reviews for iTunes within like the first few days of us posting.
# new and noteworthy.
Oh yeah. Alright. So also if you can subscribe, please do.
Yeah.
Well, that's it for today. I'm Johnny Jalopy.
Listen, man.
Alright. I'm John Bishop.
And I am Lucas Southworth. Until next time, don't forget to float like a Cadillac.
And sting like a beamer.
Got it that time. Solid.